This is VSiN, the sports betting network.
The numbers told the story, they always do.
It's one of those idiots who believe in analytics.
This is a numbers game with Gil Alexander on VSiN.
Wednesday edition of a numbers game here on VSiN, the sports betting network. Series channel 158, our very own VSiN Watch app, YouTube TV, and terrestrial stations across this great country of ours. I am Matt Brown, here keeping the seat warm for whoever will be back in here on Friday. You got me for the next 2 days. And
That's
Kelly
right.
Bidlin to my left. I know we talk about, your friend and mine, and I say that all the time. Actual, real, true life friend here, Kelly Bidlin on the desk.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, we'll see.
Hung out outside of the studio friend. That's how you know.
It is always great to have you fill
Yes.
again, Matt. We have a lot of fun.
It's the guys we'll have on as guests, and you go and you're like, yeah, my friend. We're like, I've never seen you in real life.
You're saying you're lying?
You're internet friends. We're internet friends.
Will Hill is a dear friend of mine.
We're Skype friends. But yes, when it all comes down. And speaking of Will Hill, we will have him a little bit later on the program. Nick Whalen will join as well, get his thoughts on what's going on out there in the NBA. And then Paul Sporer over from Fangraphs tell us about who is for real in Major League Baseball. If we got maybe some fugazi going on out there, I want to ask him if we believe some of these starts. And actually, if we believe some of the poor starts, if there's anything that can turn around. We will, of course, talk a ton of PGA Championship as we get ready for the second major of the year. Kelly and I do have bets, and if you can't wait, you can go out there and you can get long shots available wherever podcasts are sold. Actually, they're absolutely free.
I was going to say, you're not even going to have to buy it. You can go over to YouTube, too. Check it out there, anywhere.
And even if you don't really want to consume the content over on YouTube, if you want to hit that subscribe button,
that'd be great.
It'd be great. It'd be fun. Keep us employed. Unless you don't want us employed.
Do something nice for somebody today. It can be us.
And here's the deal. Whenever we start to get a little bit slimmer when it comes to playoff time, we can still bring in some NFL. It's win total Wednesday here on the show. So we'll talk some NFL win totals.
Yeah, start the AFC. We'll do the NFC tomorrow. We got big schedule release, tomorrow night? All the stuff starting to leak out, so we'll stay on top of that. I know we got the international schedules all set now. We'll go over that here in a bit as well.
I understand Gil's not in here, but if you want to tweet the show, you can. At Matt Brown M2, at Kelly Bidlin. If it's good, we'll read it. If not, I don't read it. I don't read everything. That's the difference between me and Gil. I'm not going to read everything.
Now just move on.
Yeah, just move right on. If it's a bad one, no, you're done. Sorry. Move right on. So make me laugh or say something cool or whatever, something like that.
That's right.
Then it gets read on the air. Okay, so let's get to what we saw last night over in the association. The Spurs win all 4 quarters and beat the Timberwolves 126-97. Wemby double-double at the half, 16 points in the first 6 minutes of the game, 27, 17, and 5 for him. Throw in 3 blocks as well. And then just a complete team effort here, Kelly. 18 from De'Aaron Fox, 12 from Vassell. We get 17 from Castle, 21 from Johnson, 12 and 10 from Dylan Harper. And with that, you get a comprehensive win here for the San Antonio Spurs.
Yeah, it was pretty impressive. These are always these moments, though, right? When you're I think it's awesome. Sports is awesome, right? Mm-hmm. This is one of those games last night. Sports is awesome. How is a star like Victor Wembanyama, a rising star, going to react off of getting ejected from the last game, coming into this series tied up 2-2? You were massive favorites heading into this. All the world expects you to meet Oklahoma City in the Western Conference Finals and battle it out for a rivalry that many of us expect to see for the next 8, 10, 12 years in the Western Conference. How are you going to react? 16 points before they took a commercial break. It was really impressive. And it all starts with him. But I think, look, if you are a Spurs backer, a Spurs believer, the other guys that you mentioned, I think that was important. I didn't even fully realize how bad of a playoffs Keldon Johnson was having until he started to go off a bit last night, and I pulled up his game log. It was bad. The playoffs have been not great for award winners so far. It was like Nickeil Alexander-Walker, here's an award. You sucked. Keldon Johnson, here's an award. You have not been great. Joe Mazzulla, we're going to push off announcing this award so far because of how bad you were in the first round. But no, really, really impressive performance from the Spurs, and we'll take this to a game 5 or game 6 in Minnesota and see if the Wolves can bounce back.
39% on shooting for the Timberwolves, 27% from 3. So you can see on top of all of the good games that you get from the Spurs, when you shoot that poorly, it's going to be very tough to stay in the game. So you get the blowout here in this one. You look at this Spurs team, Kelly, and They're going to, get 2 shots at it to move on. And it seems inevitable to me if long as Wemby is out there, because when he is out there, you can just watch the Timberwolves offense change. The few minutes that he's off the court, they're like, oh, we got to get to the rim. Like, we got to try to get the easy buckets while we can. And as soon as he's back out there, there's no more driving to the paint. There's no more mid-range stuff, any of that. It is literally, they have to run 2 completely different offenses for when he is on and off of the court, and I just don't think that is sustainable to steal both games left in the series.
I'm with you. I'm already in on San Antonio in Game 6, laid the 4.5. That's quickly gotten out to 5 here this morning. So if you are interested in that, I would probably jump in. Before you get to 5, we don't talk about key numbers often in basketball, but okay, play the free throw game at the end of the game. If you're up 3, you're fouling, go make 2 free throws. That takes you to 5. I always try to kind of get ahead of those numbers before we get out to that point. But yeah, this Spurs, I think a couple of things to take away from last night. I think every game so far for me, Matt, it was, Spurs, but Timberwolves did X, Y, and Z. That was impressive, right? The defense has been so great. Anthony Edwards, those 2 games in Minnesota off of the multiple injuries to his knees and legs that he's playing through, it was really impressive. I thought you saw Ant come back a little bit last night. He didn't look like quite the same player that we saw in Minnesota. I thought what was really alarming was the Spurs' aggressiveness. I mean, this started with Wemby, and then it was everybody else. Keldon Johnson really got involved, too. 48% of their shots taken were at the rim. With Rudy Gobert, going up against a Rudy Gobert team, that is not something you expect to see. That is 99th percentile for what you see in the NBA, is that amount of shots taken at the rim. They were pretty successful, too. So if San Antonio thinks they can get to the rim easy on this team, too, I think that's super concerning for Minnesota going forward. And it's just, Mike Conley had his moments. I was texting with the Harvard Handicappers guys last night. This drives me nuts about Minnesota during the regular season with Terrence Shannon Jr. and Rob Dillingham. It's why don't you get these guys more reps, because you never know when you're going to need to lean on them like you have had to this series. It's just, I think they're running out of answers. And this is what we often see in the NBA playoffs, right? These coaches hold back. So many things that they can fire out there during different games at different points in the series. I think Minnesota's starting to run out of answers.
You start to look, and it's like, okay, who is the obvious second guy there? You would think it would be Julius Randle, but he's 6 of 17 from the floor, 0 of 4 from downtown, and like if it's not him,
he's killing them this series.
I mean, just not getting it done at all. And so if everything is on Anthony Edwards, it's just not going to be enough.
It's not, and it's been brought up. I think the Randall stuff's really it's really disappointing, because I thought he was a relatively good matchup too heading into this series, no matter what Ant's health status was going to be. But knowing Ant was going to be limited early, I expected to see a lot of Randall. Thought he was one of those guys that could potentially get Wemby into some foul trouble too, just with his size, just how big he is overall, putting a body into Wemby, making it tougher on him. You just really haven't seen that. You've seen him struggling from the field.
As Kelly said, you actually still can find some 4.5s out there.
Okay.
If you are in the score market, sitting at 4.5, 4.5 at MGM, 4.5 at DraftKings as well. Now, there's a little juice on that, probably going to 5, but if you want to get in on the 4.5, it is available out there. 218.5 is the total. Over in the NHL, the Canadiens led 2-1 after the first period. However, Buffalo, fluke goal in the second. If you didn't, it's hard for me to explain, so just go in, type in Buffalo fluke goal, watch it. It's crazy to watch that one go in. The power play goal in the third, and that's all they needed, so they take a 3-2 win, and even this series at 2-2. Game 5 is in Buffalo. 6 is Saturday in Montreal. Winner will face Carolina there in the Eastern Conference Finals. And the Golden Knights, I know you guys on the East Coast didn't know this because it was late whenever this was going down. Golden Knights got it done against the Ducks in overtime. They take a 3-2 series lead there in that one. Carter Hart had 34 saves for the Knights. Game 6 Thursday over in Anaheim.
Yeah, this is both these series are fascinating, Matt, because you kind of want to root for all of these teams, but you kind of know that who they're going to end up playing next round. It's going to make things very, very difficult. I think the Buffalo-Montreal series, how fun is that? It's two fan bases you want to root for. It's so easy to root for, and you just know the Carolina Hurricanes are waiting on deck, and they haven't lost a damn game yet. It makes it tough. And I'm Vegas, man, this is fun. I want to root for the Golden Knights. It's a fun turnaround here in town. But, I also wish the Ducks, I haven't brought it up with you, man. The Ducks need to change jerseys. They need to go back to the Mighty Ducks, recapture a fan base that is out there that they can take advantage of.
All right. Daryl Morey out as president of basketball operations over there for the 76ers. I don't think they had much of a choice. You had to do something. You're not getting rid of Joel Embiid. And so if Embiid is staying, then you got to make some sort of move. I mean, I understand. He's the architect of the present-day version of this team there, Kelly. But at the end of the day, if you can't keep your guys out there and healthy, I mean, I guess it's on him. Ultimately, the buck always stops there. But, I mean, you didn't have your dudes out there at the same time until the playoffs rolled around.
Yeah, it's tough, but it's. I guess at this point, can that always be an excuse for Joel Embiid, right? It's, 3 years where you haven't seen him play more than 52 games in a season, I think it is, and it's 30s a couple of times. Daryl Morey, I think, is really a really interesting character, I guess, in the history of sports, right? I mean, the analytics and that what he brought to the NBA, I think, was revolutionary. It was important. Listening to my friend Evan Cohen over on ESPN Radio this morning, I thought he brought up a good point. Did his mouth maybe end up getting him in trouble? He was always so confident in backing up what he was doing. And some of these other guys that we've heard, Billy Beane, right? Billy Beane, we don't hear from all that much, right? He's not out there kind of talking as much. It wasn't over the years. Daryl Morey likes to back up what he does, with his mouth a bit, and he's sitting on two awful contracts right now with Paul George and Joel Embiid, and that's what he's left Philly with.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how they fill this void and what they do with that roster because, again, got some young talent there, but you got two bloated contracts of dudes that can't stay out there on the court. Just getting started. Major League Baseball had some interesting stuff happening last night. We'll get to that as well as some picks and start looking ahead to Cleveland, Detroit tonight.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. Use promo code TRYRTN for a 5-day free trial.
This is VSiN, a network of sports betting analysts, writers, hosts, and handicappers, all here to help you become a more confident bettor. We broadcast live every day from Las Vegas, the sports betting capital of the world, and from studios across the country, giving you insight from every angle of the action. Take VSiN with you wherever you go with the VSiN Watch app or catch us on streaming platforms and regional sports networks. You can also listen live on SiriusXM Channel 158 and on radio stations nationwide. Check out VSiN.com as well for betting tools, exclusive betting splits, AI-powered player prop projections from Opta, pro picks for every game, plus in-depth betting guides and articles built to give you an edge. From sharp betting analysis and daily best bets to insider interviews and expert breakdowns, VSiN is your trusted source for everything happening in the world of sports betting. See everything we have to offer at VSiN.com and become part of the Sports Betting Network.
It's Hump Day on Money Moves, and we've got a good episode on tap for you. Jensen Lewis, host of VSiN by the Books and former MLB pro, is going to be with us. We'll throw him some questions about this long shot to win the American League Cy Young. I think he's got a bright future, but we'll tell you whether or not Jensen wants to play it as well. Plus, we've got a unique future that I like to put together that'll have a big payout. That's going to be a ton of fun. You're not going to want to miss it. So join us. It's Money Moves, 11 to 1 Pacific, 2 to 4 Eastern. Here only on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
A numbers game on VSiN, the sports betting network.
Numbers game here on VSiN, the sports betting network. Matt Brown in for Gil, in for Dustin. Here with Kelly Bidlin. Kelly, as we look at Major League Baseball last night, in which a guy that is very good at throwing the baseball threw it very well again last night. Paul Skeens took a no-hitter into the 7th inning.
Out of which school again?
He went to LSU.
Oh, okay.
Do you know who's dating?
Yes, I do. I do. One Livy Dunn.
Yes.
One Livy Dunn.
He's having a good run right now.
Those were easy trivia questions for Matt and me.
He's having a good run right now. Good on him. So
good on him.
Anyway, finished with 8 innings pitched, 2 hits, no walks, no earned runs, 10 strikeouts. And you guys remember way back on opening day when everyone was like, oh man, Paul Skeens, maybe he's lost it, or that ERA now sits at 1.98. On the season. The Pirates are 23-19. They are 7-3 in their last 10. And Paul Skeens is just doing Paul Skeens things. What we forget is this ERA would be even lower because 3 of those 5 runs that he gave up on opening day are the weird anomaly in baseball when a guy obviously misplays a ball, but as long as he doesn't touch it, it's a hit. It doesn't matter. And so really he only gave up 2 earned on opening day, and this ERA would be even lower than it is right now. But man, if you're a Pirates backer, this fella right here,
you are.
And if you like you got to really like what you see. Not only with Skeens getting it, straightened out, but Braxton Ashcraft looks really, really good for them. You've got Jared Jones coming back for them pretty soon. He's throwing 101 down in his rehab starts there for the Pirates, and this lineup's starting to hit a little bit. And so you look at that division, I think the Cardinals eventually fall off, but Cubs and the Brewers are going to be a daunting task here. But I don't know, man. I think the Pirates can keep this up and certainly at least contend for one of those wild card spots.
Yeah, plus 130 to make the playoffs. I was just going to ask you about that. I know you were high. I think this is always tough for almost any sport we talk about. Pirates 7-1 to win the NL Central. I think it's tough when you're high on a team heading into it and a season as long as a Major League Baseball season is. Do you expect this Pirates team to maintain this level of play, drop off a little, or you wouldn't be shocked if they drop off a ton?
I mean, the thing is with that pitching staff, I actually think they're probably going to be here to stay. Bubba Chandler just got to quit walking people. I mean, his stuff is amazing. He just walks 5 guys a game, and you just can't do that and get away with it. If he can get his control back, and then we, of course, like I said, Jared Jones is coming pretty soon here. You don't want to meet them in the playoffs. When they can shorten that rotation, that's what, like, when they can go just 3 guys, like, you do not want to meet them in the playoffs. That is for sure. 2 hottest teams in the National League started a series last night. The Braves get it done 5-2 over the Cubs. 4 Braves pitchers combined for a 1-hitter against this Cubs team. You're going, wait a minute, the Cubs have 2 runs. How was it a 1-hitter? Well, I can tell you, it was a solo home run by Alex Bregman for the Cubs. Then the Braves walked the bases loaded, and then a fielder's choice scored the second run.
Ouch.
And then that was it. The Braves get it done 5-2 there. They are a Major League best 29-13 on the season for this Braves team that I will admit I was dead wrong on. I made some bold predictions leading into this season. I thought with all the injuries that they already had sustained before the season even started, I thought Spencer Strider coming back off of another injury in which he was already a worse pitcher off the first injury, losing Jurickson Profar, all of that was going to be too much for them to overcome, and I was wrong. 29-13, the Atlanta Braves.
Yeah, man, very impressive. Believe me, you weren't the only one, right? It was a lot of. I mean, I think there was a lot of Braves questions, and probably fair over the past couple seasons, right? And seeing what the Phillies were able to do last season, I think that was pretty fair. And Braves starting off hot, while the Phillies and Mets are struggling. Yeah,
absolutely. You can continue. You can definitely say the Mets are struggling, though they did get one last night, and they had called up their number 2 prospect in the organization. He had a huge night there for the Mets, so maybe things are looking up. But 16-25. For them, Zach Wheeler goes 7 1/3 for the Phillies. 6 hits, no walks, 1 earned, 4 Ks. So not a real high strikeout performance for him, but you got to love the fact that he's able to go 7 1/3 for them. They beat the Red Sox 2-1. The Sox fall to 17-24 on the season. They are 11 games back already of the Rays in the division.
Of the Rays,
yes,
too. Not the Yankees.
Yeah, have one of the 3 worst records in all of baseball. And this is a team a lot of people were high on in the offseason and just not getting it done. The Rays, we just mentioned, get it done again. Shane McClanahan, awesome for 5 innings, 1-hit ball for him. The bullpen blew it, but they eventually get it done in 10 against the Blue Jays. This Tampa Bay Rays team, like you just said, it's not the Yankees, it's the Rays. They're 9-1 over their last 10 and are 2 games clear of the Yankees, despite the Yankees winning last night as well.
You know what, Matt? I even hit the game logs. I went back further. How about 16-2 in their last 18 games? Like, this was a team that nobody was talking.
Figure it out every year.
I mean, it's incredible. The Rays and the Cardinals, right? The Rays and the Cardinals. Go and doubt them, and these are just like professional baseball organizations that put this together. Rays are up 12 units on the season for you. If you're out there betting, they are the best in baseball. St. Louis Cardinals, number 2.
I can tell you we're going to be backing them as dogs today whenever we get to my baseball card a little bit later. Finally, to wrap things up from last night, and this is mainly because we want to look at these teams moving forward, right? It's cool what they did in the past. We are always trying to look forward. Brewers beat the Padres 6-4, but they get Christian Yelich back last night after a month out. And so another bat in there for this team that has won 5 in a row. 8 of their last 10. You're getting some good starting pitching from them as well. I think the Brewers are a team that you might be able to buy low on right now. Now, the problem in this is they're in the same division as the Cubs.
Yeah.
And the Cubs are really, really good. But maybe from a win total perspective, maybe if you want to take a long shot and think the Cubs can't keep this run up, of course, their starting pitching staff's banged up. And we're not looking them too far behind here. 23-16 on the season there for the Brewers, 27-15 there for the Cubs. So I think that it is at least in the realm of possibility that they are able to overcome and win this division. Plus 350 on this Brewers team, I think is at least interesting.
I was going to say minus 175 on the Cubs, man. I know they've been really impressive, but speaking of teams, it feels like we constantly underrate Milwaukee Brewers, right? They're right back where they usually are.
Right, exactly back where they are. And again, like I said, reinforcements there. They called up Logan Henderson, who's going to probably stick in that rotation as well. He's been awesome for them in the minors. I think that is a team, the Brewers, that we can be looking up on. So we will continue with the NBA playoffs this evening, the Cavs and the Pistons. And boy, what an interesting little series we have. We're going to head into tonight. If you're looking for the market low, 3.5 over at FanDuel on Detroit, market high 4.5 at MGM and DraftKings on Detroit, 212.5 the prevailing total, though you can find a flat 212 if you happen to be in a circa market. And so, Kelly, here we are. I mean, this is game 1, Pistons win and cover. Game 2, Pistons win and cover. Game 3, Cavs win and cover. Game 4, Cavs win and cover.
Yep.
We're tied up series 2-2. And I remember when I was in here way back when with you, and the one thing we had against this Pistons team is the fact that it is basically Cade and nobody else, and there's no secondary option. And you look at those first couple of games and you say, okay, well, maybe they'll just figure it out against the Cavs, but they'll be dead in the fight, whatever. We were saying all this. Well, they did not figure it out against the Cavs. This has played out over the last 2 games, and here we are tied 2-2.
Yeah, it's and look, start right there. I don't really know that there are other answers out there, right? I felt silly. Last game. We saw Karis LeVert finally putting up numbers. I'm like, why have we been trying him? At least he's been a guy who can show it over his career that he can score 15 points if you need him to. I think it's got to be Cade, though. It's got to be Cade. I don't even really care about the turnovers that much when you are when it is so funneled through one guy and you're relying on one guy. He's actually getting it done for the most part. I thought it was really concerning that he had similar usage rates as Tobias Harris, Karis LeVert, and Isaiah Stewart and Paul Reed that last game. That is a little wild. I think this series not nearly as fun to talk about as Minnesota San Antonio.
Yeah.
I think side and total are very correlated. I think if you're liking the Pistons, you're probably liking the under. If you're liking the Cavs, you're probably expecting more offense to come from this game. And I want to focus on the Cavs, though, because the road struggles really are amazing. Have not won a game in the playoffs on the road yet, okay? I went back further yesterday. This goes back. They've won and covered on the road 3 total times since the All-Star break, Matt. 3 times. And you know who those teams were? At Memphis, at the New Orleans Pelicans, and at the Dallas Mavericks. 3 of the worst teams in the NBA. So these are usually things that I think people make a little bit too much of. But, man, I can't argue with months of data at this point that the Cavaliers are a completely different team and just flat out bad on the road. So, I think that is real. if you're going to back the Pistons, this is interesting to see what they do tonight. Massive free throw disparity. I know there was a lot made of that after the game. Cavs are going to keep that up. I think Donovan Mitchell finally looked like himself last game, maybe even a little better than he usually looks. He's going to keep firing away. The Pistons got to get up more three-point attempts, though. A 10 for 23, 43%, that's fine, but only 23 attempts is not going to be good enough to keep up with the Cavs.
Yeah, I agree with you. We will hit on this game in depth a little bit later, and of course we'll get to it next segment as well whenever we talk to Nick Whalen. Guys, right now over at VSiN.com, you get more commentary on this game and everything out there in the sports world. You get Greg Peterson on baseball, you get Wes on golf, you get the Preakness draw, and of course we'll talk some NHL over there as well. VSiN.com/subscribe. Become a pro subscriber. 14 months for only $199.
The guarantee? I hear it's massive.
They wouldn't do this unless it was something big.
There is no way it's that high.
I think it's even bigger.
It's huge. What? It's huge. Oh.
I'm down here at Circa, and I heard it's going to be gigantic.
It's the biggest contest we've ever seen.
Seriously, what's the guarantee?
All right, guys. You're going to have to wait and see. The biggest pro football contests in the world are back. Visit circusports.com for more information.
Elevate your sports betting game with VSiN's exclusive betting splits. Stay ahead with real-time market trends and track bet percentages on any matchup. Then uncover the edge by comparing them to the amount of bets placed to find out where the sharp money is headed. Upgrade to VSiN Pro to access betting splits, live odds, line moves, power ratings, and in-depth game analysis. Go to VSiN.com/pro to join VSiN, the sports betting network.
This is VSiN, the sports betting network.
A numbers game on VSiN, the sports betting network.
Numbers game here on a Wednesday. Matt and Kelly in for the next couple hours with you guys. Again, 3.5 market low out there on Detroit, 4.5 market high. You get a flat 4 now at Caesars, as well as Fanatics, as the hook has been taken away over there. So you can find 3.5, you can find a flat 4, you can find 4.5, 212.5, the prevailing total out there in the market. And I bet our next guest will have a thought or two there on that, as Nick Whalen joins the program, host of Prop Points here on the network, over at RotoWire as well, and at Whalen with the 1 on the Twitter machine. How you doing, buddy?
Doing well, guys. Good to be here with you.
Yeah, we are going to bring the conversation here for everyone, as I'm a fan of the triple digit temperatures, and like Kelly just starts shaking his head, and Nick, of all people, because I mean, where you live, it could be, for all I know, it's still 35 degrees there right now, but I mean, you say I'm loving the triple digits as well.
Oh, no question, guys. I absolutely love, I do most of my Vegas traveling in the summer for some reason, but yeah, nothing better than like a 104, 107 day, out at Paiute. You get the wind going a little bit. It's dry out there. You're not really sweating somehow, despite the temperatures. I've lived my whole life in Wisconsin, guys, but I actively hate the climate here. I don't think I'll ever move. There are too many things keeping me in Wisconsin, but I'm not here because I love the winter. I hate the winter.
You know what I'm thinking, though, as I watch you shake your head there, Kelly Bill?
What?
Skinny Kelly hasn't had a summer in Vegas yet. So like Skinny Kelly
might
golf
course.
Skinny Kelly might like the triple digits.
No human being should be out on a golf course when it's 100.
Skinny Kelly might like it more than you think.
You, Nick, and Matt Humans can all get together, okay, and go golf when it's 112 degrees out.
Say the word.
I'm in. All right, Nick. So we got a game here tonight. Like I said, market low 3.5, market high 4.5. You can find a flat 4 as well out there. 212.5. The prevailing total here with Cleveland and Detroit. We get Cleveland team that was looking like they were going to be just swept right out of there and then win 2 games as they get back home. And we sit 2-2 right now as we sit with this line, 3.5, 4, 4.5. Do you think it's fair? Do you think this is a play on one of these sides?
I think it is a fair number, and it's up a little bit from the kind of standard 3.5 one way or the other that we've been getting so far in this series. But we do have to keep in mind the Cavaliers have been a great home team. They're 6-0 at home in the playoffs. They have been a terrible road team. They are yet to win a game on the road, and I'm still having trouble figuring out both of these teams. I've been all over the Cavs in this series. I bet the Cavs to win it outright. I really like the over 5.5 games, and I'm not surprised Cleveland has been able to climb back in, but even in the 2 games that they've won, they had that huge second quarter in game 3. Looked like, all right, this thing's going to be over. They give it all back in the third, and that game ended up being closer than it should have. They go on that crazy 22-0 run to begin the third quarter the other night. And, again, that was another game that probably should have been over. And all of a sudden, Paul Reed and Karis LeVert are keeping Detroit around and, ended up being less than a double-digit point win for Cleveland. So I still think the Cavaliers are the significantly more talented team. I think they have more options offensively. You got really 3 guys, even though we can debate how much you trust James Harden and Evan Mobley night to night. Whereas Detroit, it just feels like it's all on Cade Cunningham. We're back to the round 1 version of Jalen Duren now, which has been a disaster for Detroit. And I do worry a little bit. It's like, did Detroit waste the Karis LeVert game in a loss? Are you going to get another effort like that out of Karis LeVert? I'm not sure. I would lean toward grabbing the points with Cleveland, but I might be a little bit overinvested in this Cavs team.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, Nick. You and I think, both have series stuff right on the Cavs. I thought it was going to go long, so I think I'm just going to be riding those out too. Side and total feel very correlated here. We're going to ask you about props, so anything that you looked at specifically for player props in this game, and is Karis LeVert. So you kind of laugh about it. I kind of laugh about it too, but I've been yelling, I feel it for a couple of weeks. We're like, that guy's sitting on the bench. He can get you 15. Like, you got to try something. Is he someone, or are there other guys that you're looking at here tonight?
I mean, LeVert's points prop is at 7.5 at DraftKings. I mean, that's low enough that I would consider taking a bite. It is plus 114 to that number. I mean, Detroit, I think, is just looking for anyone to kind of emerge as a legitimate third option. I think we can officially say Tobias Harris is the number 2 option now for Detroit, but game to game, sometimes it's been Dennis Jenkins, sometimes it's been Duncan Robinson. Occasionally you'll get some offensive contributions from Asar Thompson, but I think you have to kind of ride what we saw from Karis LeVert. But as you know, Kelly, you've watched the NBA for the last decade. Karis LeVert does not tend to string together performances like that. It's just kind of spinning the wheel every night as far as what he's going to look like. Most of my props tonight were concentrated on the Cleveland side. I'll buy in on Max Strus, buying low here, 2+ threes, -128 at FanDuel. He's gone under this number in 3 straight, but for the most part, the volume has been there. He is 3 for his last 16 from beyond the arc after going 4 of 8 to begin this series in game 1. He is 8 of 30 on open threes. He is 8 of 15 on wide open threes in the postseason. So I guess I got to focus on getting him more wide open looks as opposed to open, but I'll trust the volume there. If you want to get a little creative here, Donovan Mitchell to lead the game in scoring is +140, which I thought was a reasonable value. Obviously, Cade Cunningham is the primary threat here. He's the favorite at +128, but Mitchell has 31, 35, 43 over the last 3 games, 29.7 points per game over his last 6. Evan Mobley, this one's a little bit shaky, but I do like the over 11.5 rebounds plus assists. Decent price, -106. He's cleared this in 3 of 4 games so far in the series. He now has 5 straight games with at least 4 assists. The rebound numbers are what concern me a little bit because his total rebound rate is a lot lower than you would think, but he has over a 20% assist rate in the series, which means he's assisting on like 1 in 5 baskets for the Cavs when he's on the court. So I think that's a decent number. And then all I have on the Detroit side, guys, I'm going to go under 24.5 PRA for Jalen Duren. It's such a low number, but there just hasn't been much hope. We saw more Paul Reed all of a sudden in game 4. Maybe the Pistons reintroduce Isaiah Stewart tonight. Detroit has a 98 offensive rating and a 116 defensive rating with Jalen Duren on the court in this series. He's only gone over this number twice in 11 playoff games.
Talking to Nick Whalen from RotoWire and, of course, Prop Points here on the network. Cade Cunningham sitting at 27.5 over at DraftKings from a points perspective. 23, 25, 27, and 19 in the 4 games here in the series. So has not cleared this number a single time, yet is set at 27.5. Do we just blindly play the under here, or do we think an incredible amount of volume here for Cade Cunningham could just get it there?
Yeah, it's probably more of an under for me, honestly, guys. I mean, the volume could be there for Cade. It should be there, of course. But, I don't think Cade is one of those guys that doesn't want to have to be that guy. I think he'd rather kind of give you 24, 8 and 8 instead of have to be the guy who comes out and takes 26 shots. But, again, it's outside of Tobias Harris. You just don't really know who else is going to contribute for Detroit. I mean, I will say the pace in this series is not necessarily helping us if you're looking at some of these star player points overs outside of Donovan Mitchell. Game 4 was played at a 91.8 pace. That is very, very slow. So even these games where, Cleveland feels like they're playing really well offensively, or they have this huge second half, they only got to 112 points. Detroit, even in the games that they've shot it well, it's not like they're putting up these 125, 130 type of nights. So, I think the volume should be there for Cade Cunningham, but as the series goes along, it feels like it's going to continue to be kind of an offensive slog for Detroit.
Yeah, and we always say it, shop around for everything, but I'm just comparing a couple books right now with these point props for both Cade and Donovan Mitchell. Like MGM's, Cade 26.5 over 120, Mitchell 27.5 over 115. So especially if you're looking for the prop you had mentioned, Nick, kind of leading scorer, that will shift book to book as well. Going over to the Western Conference, Spurs wrapping this up in Minnesota on Friday night.
It feels like they probably do. Number's 4.5 right now, and they do get the extra day of rest, which is nice after going every other night. So no games tomorrow, and then we get that one on Friday. I wouldn't say you would expect Minnesota to come out and win that game in San Antonio last night, but that was not the effort you wanted to see. Giving up 126, Minnesota predictably struggled offensively. There was kind of a eureka moment when Wembanyama got kicked out of Game 4, where immediately you just saw Minnesota getting to the rim with ease, which is something they have not been able to do at all in this series. It's just so much different when Wembanyama is out there. Anthony Edwards, I think, given the circumstances, has played about as well as you could expect, but he just doesn't look like the same guy. Feels like they're going to need a Herculean effort out of him. I think the Julius Randle situation is a major problem for Minnesota. That has not really changed at home versus on the road. He was a -22 last night, got his empty numbers as usual, but feels like this Wolves team might be running out of gas. And San Antonio, again, with Wembanyama in the lineup, I mean, this is one of those reminder games last night of what this team is capable of.
Nick, we've got about 30 seconds left. I think all three of us kind of assume we are going to see the Spurs advance, what kind of chance do you give them against the Thunder?
OKC has just been dominant, right? And I thought the Lakers played about as well as they could have feasibly in that series and still couldn't even take a game off of OKC. Right now, I would say Thunder win that series in 6. Yeah, I don't think we could totally throw away what we saw during the regular season. I think Wembanyama alone just presents matchup issues for every team, including Oklahoma City. I do worry a little bit, about the shooting for the Thunder. That was an issue for them as the playoffs went along last season. So I don't think this is a walkover series by any means for the Thunder. But if they get Jalen Williams back, to me, that would be Thunder in 6.
He is Nick Whalen, of course, right here on the network. Prop Points over at RotoWire as well. Appreciate the time and good luck.
Thank you, guys.
When we come back, let's get into the Major League Baseball slate tonight. I got some bets you might want to tail.
VSiN's player prop projection tool is now available for the NBA. Get projections for points, assists, rebounds, and more powered by Opta AI. On VSiN.com/NBA props, we line up our projections against the latest DraftKings odds so you can quickly spot mismatches and find value before the market adjusts. The NBA player prop projections tool is available exclusively to VSiN Pro subscribers. Check it out now at VSiN.com/NBA props and join us on the Sports Betting Network.
Your favorite VSiN shows and personalities are now available to download as podcasts. Catch every hour of our live broadcast with VSiN Best Bets, or find your go-to show and download it directly. Get instant reactions to last night's games, sharp analysis on today's biggest matchups, and everything in between. Whether you're commuting, working out, or just catching up, VSiN lets you take the action with you wherever and whenever you want. Search VSiN on your favorite podcast platform and get in on the action with VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
A numbers game on VSiN, the sports betting network.
3.5 now at DraftKings, so a full point move as people are backing Cleveland tonight over at DraftKings. 3.5 now in favor of Detroit. 3.5 at FanDuel. That juice I was talking about greatly reduced at MGM. We're already at a flat 4 at Caesars and Circa and Fanatics. So seems as if the sentiment, at least in the early going here, several hours until we get the tip off here, Kelly Bidlin, but people coming in and saying, you know what? I know Cleveland has played like garbage on the road. I know they've been complete trash. Not tonight.
I mean, I guess it doesn't surprise me. I think Nick and I have viewed this series very similarly the entire time. Just the basic sentence of there's overall more talent on that Cleveland side is what I've kind of always believed in as well. So I'm not shocked. But I would think if you're like me and you've seen this Cleveland team and you've gone to the window a couple times to back up this postseason on the road, you'd be a little more gun-shy at this point, because I sure am.
Yeah, it is now. If you do want to back Cleveland and you want that 4 and a hook, there's only one left. It is at MGM. So you might want to go now, because it seems like that is a move that is going to happen here. We're going to be at 4. We might even be at 3.5 before it's all said and done. So one book left out there if you want the 4.5, and that is over at MGM. Okay, so let's get into some Major League Baseball.
Let's do it, man.
Kelly Bidlin, I know you are a gigantic Major League Baseball player.
I love baseball. Baseball's an awesome sport, man. Just, it starts at a bad time for me. How about that?
So I have to sometimes get creative with baseball betting because, listen, it's a money line sport in general.
Mm-hmm.
The run line, I don't ever bet with a home team, and I wanted to back a home team here today. If you're wondering about that, it's because obviously there's no incentive for a team to win by multiple runs, and then if you don't get the extra bat in the ninth inning, it doesn't matter. You win, the game's over, 1 run, it is what it is. So I don't like to back home teams on a run line either. So with this, I am going to a game that we're going to get at, I think it starts at 10:10 Pacific. So Kelly, math. 1:10 Eastern.
Yes. At Progressive Field.
How much do you have to do that like on the fly and just hate it because you're like, I know I'm right, but I feel like when I say it, I'm wrong.
Yes, it's that. It's very much the AM for us, right? Yeah. To PM for the East Coast. Yeah.
I do the thing of I know I'm right, yet I feel like I'm wrong. When I do the time conversion.
It's also like the late NBA tips, too, where I'm like, is this really 10 o'clock Eastern time? Yes, it is. It really is.
So it was minus 152-ish on the overnight. It's now out to 156 at Circa. It's as high as minus 163 for the Guardians at home over the Angels. So didn't want to go in that direction. And shout out to Mike Somich, kind of pointed this bet out that you could make.
Okay. He's the first person I ever heard bring this.
Well, it was you got to dig, right? Because they don't make it easy to find, and so you've got to dig to find it. But there is a not to bat in the bottom of the ninth inning, and then you get a much, much better price. And of course, listen, if they do bat in the bottom of the ninth inning, you lose. But
can you bet the Angels not to bat in the bottom of the ninth inning?
So the Guardians know there is minus 110 as opposed to the minus 156. And so I'm going to bank on the fact that they're going to have a lead in this one based off the arm of Parker Messick, who I really, really liked. But here's the deal. The books have caught on to Parker Messick, and you can't get a good strikeout line on him anymore. And you have a ton of swing and miss in this Angels lineup as it is anyway. So the problem is between Neto and Soler and Adele, and to be honest, like, listen, Trout's having a good season, but Trout strikes out a lot too. And so there's a lot of swing and miss in this. So they've juiced him all the way up to 6.5 on this. So it's like 7 strikeouts, still a lot of strikeouts. So I didn't want to go that direction either. So find a way to back this Guardians team is just the not to bat in the bottom of the ninth. It's a bad bullpen for the Angels as well, specifically over the last couple of weeks. And so with that, I will go with no Guardians batting in the bottom of the ninth inning.
Okay, I like it. Do you have, this is going to be a tough question because obviously money line prices can be all over the place. You're getting about 45 cents bang for your buck on that type of bet right there. Is there a range that that you don't consider that bet?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I will lay 130, like just on a normal money line. Like I'll lay, I kind of get into that realm, but once we get into the 150s, 160s and stuff like that, if you're doing it every single day, it's, I say this all the time, round ball, round bat, weird things happen. And then it's like, just like, okay, there's 30 more cents I lost, 30 more cents I lost, 30 more cents over and over and over again. So, and
you're almost always avoiding run line with home teams?
Home teams, I'm almost always avoiding run line. Unless I think it's just a complete gas can out there on the mound and it could be a giant blowout or something like that. But yeah, typically I will avoid the run line with that too. So if you do though, I mean, here's the deal. I try to find a pitcher that I really want to back that I think that the other team can get to as well. And then with that the case, I don't even need to worry about them batting in the bottom of the ninth inning, which is kind of what we have here with the Guardians. This Angels team not hitting the ball very well here of late. And also Parker Messick has just been absolutely awesome. Not even on the radar, by the way, preseason. And now if you go in the Cy Young odds, he's like 50-1. A guy that's, kind of worked his way into that conversation. A 2.30 ERA, a sub-1 whip. He's got nearly a 29% K rate, and he doesn't walk people. He's down at a 6% walk rate as well. So do like me some Parker Messick, but this was just the way that I chose to back him. I said we were going to get to that Rays team, and I am going to go ahead and play this Rays team as a big dog. Now, that being said, it seems like some other people decided they were also going to play the Rays as a big dog, as this is no longer plus 150. I'm looking
Oh, boy.
here.
I see plus 135 is the best.
Yeah, so 135, is the best. And it's getting bet right now as we speak. It's down to 132 at FanDuel, 133 at Circa. Yeah. So
they got Jax on the mound.
Yeah.
They got Jax.
Griffin Jax. So a guy that they moved to the bullpen, that they are getting stretched back out as a starter. He did go 4 innings in his last start, so I think we can at least bank on him going 4 or 5 innings in this one, them feeling pretty comfortable. Again, he is a former starter, so it's not one of those things where it's crazy for him. And we are going up against Dylan Cease, who's been very good for this Toronto team, but at the end of the day, this Toronto team can't hit, and Griffin Jax was at one point a good starter. Can he be back to being a good starter? We shall see. Like I said, I'm looking for at least 4 innings out of him in this one. If we can get 5, I think it's even bigger bonus, and we'll just continue picking on this Blue Jays team that continues to underperform for whatever reason, can't hit the baseball like they should. So going to back them. Going to back a terrible team here today as well on the Mets. Mets minus 106 against the Tigers. I think the Tigers are in real trouble. We'll talk to Paul Sporer a little bit later, a known Tiger fan, and see if he is worried about this squad. But Christian Scott, one of the big prospect arms for the Mets, come up, and I think that he's getting a little bit of disrespect in this because he's just not known. And I think that this would be a little bit more favored in the Mets' direction if people knew exactly what Christian Scott brings to the table. But this is a super highly touted prospect, was mowing through people down in the minors, looked good in his first start up in the bigs. And Framber Valdez has just been atrocious. Like, I know this is a big offseason signing, but that 4.57 season ERA, by the way, over the last 3 starts is a 7.43 ERA that is backed up by a 6.56 expected. So it's like, it's not even smoke and mirrors. Like, he's just been horrific the last 3 starts. Guys, K rate is way down. His walk rate is a little bit up. He's just not the same guy, not the same pitcher, and giving up a ton of hard contact as well. So give me the Mets here behind Christian Scott. And then I'm going to take the under in the Cubs in the Braves. This is Shota Imanaga, who has been amazing for this Cubs team. I actually threw in a long shot Cy Young Award ticket on him not too long ago. Okay. And we're looking at a guy who's 2.47 ERA on the season, backed up by still a sub-3 expected, a sub-1 whip on the season. His K rate is up. He's always had a low walk rate. And I think if this Cubs team continues to be really good, then he's going to be in the discussion. So did throw in a ticket on him, but that's neither here nor there about today. I don't think that this Braves team is going to be able to go out there and light him up. I think that what we're seeing is for real. The expected numbers and all the advanced stats say that what we're seeing with Imanaga is for real. And then J.R. Ritchie on the other side here, another kind of like the same deal we just talked about with Christian Scott. A good prospect arm for this Braves team. Really, really good AAA numbers. A guy that I do believe can carry this over on into the major league level as well. So going to go under 9 in the Cubs and the Braves, and that's going to be the plays here for me. Another Major League Baseball note, though, if you are betting today, Shohei is on the mound for the Dodgers, but he's not going to hit. So they're going to keep him out of the lineup hitting today and tomorrow. So just kind of give him a little bit of a rest. it's been an un-Shohei-like start for him. He did homer last night, and so that's heading in the right direction there. But they just want to give him a little bit of rest, so he's not going to hit tonight, and he's not going to hit tomorrow either.
Yeah, maybe more tomorrow, even more the more significant one, right?
Yeah.
As he usually doesn't hit when he pitches. No, we haven't gotten to this all week. Wanted to update the May most wins standings if you are out there betting. Rays 10-1, a little over 3-1.
Looking pretty good in that one.
Yeah, looking pretty good. Brewers 7-2, Cubs 8-3, Phillies 8-3.
When we come back, let's go country